In the UK, there are approximately 5.4 million small businesses. And today I'm chatting with Liv Daisy, founders of Salad Days, which help the product side of those businesses connect and sell to their customers through curated markets. Girls, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having us.
Can you explain what Salad Days is and what it does?
So Salad Days is essentially, at its core, Salad Days is a market. So Salad Days Market. And we host monthly pop-ups all around London. We're South London girlies, so we predominantly operate in South London, but sometimes in Central. And basically, we just wanted to set up events to help more people discover and shop with incredible small businesses. So we were seeing all of these amazing small businesses online, and we didn't see them necessarily in the other kind of markets that we were going to. So really, we just set about creating our own dream event. And that was 5 years ago. And we now both run the business full time. We've hosted pop-ups all over the city at places like Selfridges and the Shard and Battersea Power Station, and then more local events like Gypsy Hill Brewery Tap Room, which is one of our favourites. It's been an absolute whirlwind of 5 years, but it's been incredible. And we're just really focused on championing small businesses who have craftsmanship at their core. So yeah, it's been a wild ride.
You both have a retail background, but not in events.
We both went to university. We both studied fashion in different ways. Daisy did fashion journalism and I did fashion promotion and imaging, which it's sort of like styling and photography. It's not really a real thing. Anyway, so then we both went on to careers sort of in the fashion industry. I'm saying that like with my hands. But I worked in visual merchandising and Daisy was an editor for in like e-commerce and online and did copywriting and things like that, and also marketing. And we both spent 10 years working in our separate careers, both doing those things, working our way up and working really hard. And there was aspects of it that we both really liked, and I think we were both working in jobs that we sort of felt like should have been like our dream jobs, or you know, being promoted into like management roles or whatever, and things that we should have been really happy and excited about, but actually they were making us quite unhappy, and we both weren't really enjoying the roles and the jobs, and weren't finding that there was a lot of creativity there, weren't finding that, you know, you want to go into a creative role and study something creative, and you find that actually, you know, a lot of the job that you end up doing isn't really anything to do with anything creative at all. And so I think we both were quite unhappy in our roles. And although there was aspects of it that we liked, and we did learn a lot in those jobs. I mean, really everything that Daisy did in her job before in terms of marketing and e-commerce and copywriting and editing and all of those things, all of that really stood us in amazing stead for setting up this business. Daisy had so many skills that I literally had absolutely no clue about, into just silly things like writing emails, formatting emails, doing the website, things that seem so obvious, but even using social media, it was also new to me. So although there was aspects of it that we didn't like, we both learned a lot in those roles that have really helped us in our business today.
And I think what's been really nice is sort of being able to now, with context running the business, look back and actually feel really pleased that we did those jobs. Because I think at the time when we were in those jobs, we both were feeling quite unhappy, and we both felt a bit like we were doing jobs that we wish we weren't doing, and that, you know, maybe we'd wasted time in these careers that we didn't really love. But actually then when we set up the business, we realised, Liv obviously having more experience in terms of the literal setting up of like equipment and dealing with things like on the day, obviously doing visual merchandising, it's very in the moment, you're like dealing with people, you're dealing with equipment, you're bringing things together in a real way. That's so important when you're running a market, and I don't have any expertise in that area at all, whereas my expertise is like all the digital online side of things, which obviously when you're trying to market an event is incredible. So I think then with that bit of context we've now had from the past 5 years, I think we can now both look back and be really happy that we did do those jobs that we didn't necessarily love at the time, because they did actually sort of accidentally give us all the skills that we needed to then be able to do the market now. So that's been nice.
And who are your ideal brands that you want at your markets?
Oh, it's a good question. I think we're always just looking to work with really creative and original brands. So people who are really kind of championing crafts and traditional crafts, but in really new and exciting ways. So for example, people who are, you know, experts at sewing or crochet, but then also really amazing other skills, like people who are doing glass work, you know, but they're bringing those kind of ancient traditional skills into the 21st century in really new and exciting ways, and getting new young audiences excited about those crafts again. Our family are upholsterers, and so I think we both really have an appreciation of those traditional crafts, and it's really important to us that they're still, you know, passed down, they're still learned, they're still really respected and celebrated because we think that they're really amazing, and the people that can do those crafts are really amazing. So I think at the core, the brands we're looking to work with are very much people who are skilled craftspeople, but then also we're just always really excited to work with people who are really excited about what they're doing. So half the time the brands that we accept, you know, it's when that person's able to transfer their excitement and passion for what they're doing to you, and it gets us really excited and passionate about what they're doing as well. We're passionate people, and there's nothing we like more than to work with other people who are just so invested and thrilled and excited about what they're doing. It really gives us such a thrill and a buzz, and we love feeling really excited and really, really bought into what people are doing. So I think it very much is partly the craft aspect, partly the originality of the product, something that we haven't seen before, but then also just working with someone who absolutely loves what they do, because, there's nothing nicer than that, really.
I've not had the opportunity to go to one of the markets yet, but you can really get a feel when you look at your social media. It's all elevated. We're not talking twee dusty crafts here. The people that are attending, their branding is on point. They're, and it's not village hall, even though you might have them in village hall, even though you might have them in this, it's not that dusty village hall aesthetic. Do you know what I mean? Absolutely. And it's what is out there, and it's kind of places, like you say, you had the pop-up in Selfridges. Obviously Selfridges wouldn't have had you if that was the aesthetic, or if that they were the kind of brand. So I think for people that are visualizing it, go and have a look on the Salad Days Instagram page, which we'll link below, and on the website as well, and you'll get a real feel for the types of brands and the look and the created edit that the girls have pulled together.
Thank you. That's a lovely compliment.
That is really kind. We take our curation really seriously, and we truly believe that we're so lucky to work with the absolute best of the best from all around the UK, but also some people from abroad. Some people travel from abroad to come and take part in the market. So we truly believe in the skill and the talent of every single brand we work with. They really are pulling these crafts into the 21st century. It's trend driven. They're really highly covetable products. I think that's difficult to explain to people sometimes. It's not just shopping small because you think that's something you should do, or you think that's a good thing to do. It's really about shopping these products because they are truly absolutely incredible products that you won't find anywhere else, things that you cannot wait to buy. I know me and Liv feel like that, and I know our customers feel like that.
I'm a shopaholic.
We're shopaholics, but people queue for half an hour before we open to get in because they're so desperate to come in and buy something. These are just things that you won't find anywhere else. So it's honestly just, they're amazing. The things that these people can make with their own hands is honestly, it never fails to amaze me.
And I think as well, we're able to be quite reactive in terms of trends, because where we run events month to month, if you do have a bricks and mortar store, which I have so much respect for, but you're buying in advance, and then you've got to hold on to the stock, and then maybe if it doesn't move, and then you've got to have sales and things, that's really, really difficult. And I respect anyone who can do that. But where we don't own any of the product, and where we have events month to month, or even week to week sometimes, we can be really reactive in terms of trends. So as soon as we see scrunchies are becoming huge, or as soon as we see sardine prints were becoming really big, or whatever it might be, that we can see that really specific trend in that moment, we can get on it and get it at the market within a few weeks turnaround. So it really allows us, as soon as something pops up on TikTok, or as soon as we see something take off, or we post a piece of content that goes really, really big and people love it and comment on it and save it loads, we can react to that straight away and get that product into the market, and then market that is going to be at the product. Things like the charm necklace bar, we saw that really, really pop off. We were able to get someone to come and do the charm necklaces at the market. We've seen the reception to that, then we can continue to book her, she can get new product. It's very reactive, and so we can always be right there with the trends that people want to buy in that moment. So I think that just allows it to stay really exciting as well.
And who are the customers that come to the markets generally that you put on?
We call them the scrunchy girlies because it's literally just tens and hundreds of really cool girlies that wear giant scrunchies. So we call them the scrunchy girlies, which our mum thinks it's really funny, and we've taught her all about the scrunchy girlies. We'll be out and she's like, is that a scrunchy girly? Is that a scrunchy girly? Some people joke that, especially at our event at the Tap Room, which is in furthest southeast London, it's a little bit of a walk from the station, but people don't even need to look at the map of where they're going because they just follow the tens of girls wearing massive scrunchies to the market. So they're leading the way to the market. But we don't particularly focus on one type of customer, I will say. I think it generally skews, because of TikTok, to a 20-something-year-old girl who's trend driven and wants to buy something cool to wear, at the weekend. But honestly, like some of our best customers are in their 50s, in their 60s. Some of our most loyal customers are women, you know, who are maybe retired. They've got money to spend. They're looking to be part of a community. They're looking for beautiful things. They've got an appreciation of craft. And, you know, probably some of our, I'm thinking of like 3 or 4 women in particular that are our best, most beloved customers that we love to death, are 50 and 60-year-old women. So there really is no one set person. We see all different types of people coming down to the market, and we really do want the market to be a welcoming space for everyone. I think sometimes traditional retail can make you feel a bit unwelcome or a bit, you know, not appreciated. Or I know for me personally, like as a plus size person, I know walking into some shops I felt like really unwelcome and uncatered for. And I think for us, we really always want our events to welcome everyone. So I would say the TikTok girlies are a core part of our audience, but also there are really so many different types of people that come down.
So in terms of your messaging and your marketing, that's who you target, but then you have those other people on either side. And speaking of retail and the high street now, what do you think is wrong with it?
I think it's not always a joyful experience to shop on the high street. It's not always an exciting experience to shop on the high street. I don't think you always get the service that you might want or need on the high street. And I think you might not always be catered to in terms of sizing or in terms of like sustainability requirements or things like that. So I think it's just not always a happy, joyful experience. And I think that's probably where the difference in the market comes in, because there is that sense of community and there is that friendship element there. And it's an event, it's a day to shop, but it's you've got that event around it. You've got people meeting up, people having drinks, having food, families coming together, friends coming together, chatting, catching up. And I think it's that social aspect that is missing from the high street as well. It's, you know, people don't really want to just go and necessarily just buy something and make a purchase. They want that whole social aspect to it, that whole community aspect to it, which we can create and foster at the market. So I think that's kind of slightly missing from traditional retail. And I think sometimes it just leaves you feeling bad about yourself. Like sometimes I think shops on the high street, whether they mean to or not, it just sometimes, I know I have shopping experiences, they just make me feel bad about myself, whether I can't find a size or whether the change rooms are horrible, you know, the rail doesn't go across properly, so you're sort of half naked in front of other people in the change room, whatever it might be. It's not always a positive and happy experience. And so I think it just sometimes leaves you feeling bad, and who wants to spend money when you're feeling rubbish about yourself? You don't.
I think as well, touching on the customer service comment that you made, I don't know when the only place I've probably had good customer service in a long time has been John Lewis, with a lot of retailers that are cutting costs and they're having to look at their staffing ratios and everything like that. Like you say, it's not a nice environment in a lot of places because half of the stock's not out. The displays don't look that, in some places, that great. But it's the customer service as well, that trying to find someone to either have a conversation and find out more about a product or just get you the product in the first place, and they're not there. You know, and I know there's a lot of constraints and I know that there's a lot of pressure on it, but I think that the customer service is one of the big things for me.
100%. I really think that's a big part of why people like to come down to the market. And before we do the market, we do a sales power hour with our sellers where we just go over like tips for the day. And one of the main things we talk about is showing up as your best self, showing up as your best salesperson, really being there to listen to your customer, really being there to engage with your customer. Because at the end of the day, a lot of the things that people are selling at the market, they're nice to have purchases. They're not necessary purchases. These are things that people want to come down and feel good when they're buying. It's not food. They don't need to have these things to live. So if you want to sell them to people, you've got to give them that great experience to go along with it. Like, you've got to make people feel great. You've got to make people feel really appreciated. And, you know, I think that's what people are really looking for. I know for me, I couldn't tell you the last time I had a good interaction in a shop on a high street. And I totally get it. The people that work there, you know, I get it. I've worked it. Yeah, they're undervalued, probably underpaid. It's stressful. Maybe they're on 0 hours contracts. All of those. I don't want to be too negative, but you know, I think there are a lot of negative things about working in that kind of job. We've both worked those jobs. I've been that person. I know how you feel when you're the one person on a Saturday shift and like you're expected to do all of these things. It's really stressful. So I'm not blaming anyone. I think it's just, it doesn't add up to giving the customer an experience that you're really desperate to go back and have again. So, you know, I think people are just looking for other ways to purchase things and to just have a nicer time doing it.
Another thing I've noticed, something that you said, Nicole, about people or brands cutting costs. Something I've really noticed is a real lack of investment in visual merchandising and window displays and mannequins. I've noticed so many shops now have got rid of their window displays and you can just see directly into the shop. And, you know, that's great in terms of creating a light and bright and sort of spacious environment, but I feel like we're lacking that inspiration. Like, you know, I love going to the high street and seeing things like Selfridges windows at Christmas, or, you know, any time of year, because they always do really inspiring things with amazing artists. And I think when you kind of cut those corners and you lose all of those mannequins and displays and products and equipment, I guess it's great for sustainability, and it's great in terms of like getting product in the shop and doing things quickly. But I think it just misses that spark and that magic and that inspiration. And especially if you're someone who needs a bit of inspiration when you're shopping, as we all do, we all want to feel inspired and excited by what we see. As often we're buying things we don't need, like Daisy said. I've really noticed, and I always think if we, you know, if I was still working in visual merchandising, I probably wouldn't be now. I probably would have been made redundant a long time ago, because I imagine a lot of those jobs are gone now. I never really see window displays anymore, and I really miss that. It's something I loved about the high street, and very few people do really do that anymore.
You work with hundreds of small brands. The ones that are super successful, what do you think are the common traits that you see with those brands?
I really think that it comes down to the person, because I think most of the businesses we work with are one-person businesses. At most, maybe they have one or two people that they employ part-time to do, you know, like maybe their graphic design or the accounts or whatever. But the vast majority of brands we work with are one-person businesses. And so it really comes down to that one person. And I guess their ability to continue to be resilient and to continue to, you know, honestly just work really hard and to carry on pushing forward and to stay, you know, in love with what they're doing and to stay passionate about what they're doing. Some of the people that we've seen that have had the biggest success, it doesn't always necessarily come down to the product. As much as their product is absolutely incredible and beautiful, I don't think that's always what it is about. I really do think the common denominator for the most successful businesses is the person themselves. And I think it really is about resilience. That me and Liv have talked about this so much over the last 5 years. And I know the thing that we've both worked on the most in our own business is resilience, because running a business, at the end of the day, it's about continuing to solve problems for the rest of your life. You know, as much as it's about being creative and, you know, being really in love with what you're doing, it really is every day waking up and having the resilience and the ability and the wherewithal and the desire to carry on solving new problems that are always going to come up. And so I think the people that see the most success are the people who see every day as a new opportunity to overcome a new problem, to try something new, to try something different, to be excited about something new, to get their customers, you know, buzzing for something else. And they're the ones who really retain that passion for it, and they have that real passion and excitement for what they're doing. I think you can't mimic that. If you don't have that in your business, I think it's really, really hard to carry on running your business and have that resilience for what you're doing, because you don't have that true passion and care for it. So I think it really is the personal traits of the person who runs the business, which I think puts a lot of pressure on the business owner. But at the same time, it also does give you a lot of power in your own hands to know that a lot of your success can be down to you as a person and how much love and care and attention and work you are able to put into it. So I think it's kind of a double-edged sword, but we try and view it as a positive. Like I like knowing that a lot of the kind of the possibilities are within our hands, but it does put a lot of pressure on the business owners. And I think ultimately people who constantly try something new. So, you know, something will work for, I don't know, a year, you know, maybe you'll have one best-selling product for a year. People are going crazy for, you know, giant scrunchies, as we've talked about. But obviously in the next 2 years, people might not care so much about giant scrunchies anymore. So I think it's people who, before something's kind of run its course, they have that passion and enthusiasm to constantly be pushing the boundaries, trying something new, getting their customers excited about something else that they're working on, and taking their customers on that journey so that they then have that next product that's a real big seller, a real bestseller that their customers are excited to buy. And again, that comes down to having the energy and the resilience to continually do that, because obviously that is really tiring when you've done that month after month and year after year. So yeah, resilience is probably the big one.
For people that are thinking about exhibiting at a market, whether it's yourselves or with another market, what should they consider before they commit?
I think willing to put in what you want to get out of it. So, you know, thinking about your display ahead of time, launching new products, doing the marketing, telling people you're doing the event, getting people excited to come and down and shop with you, you know, putting in that time and energy. I think it's easy to think kind of you're booking into an event, you'll just show up on the day, you know, people will be there, you're going to sell things to them. But I think it takes a reflection on yourself personally, and to kind of think, what are you putting into it? Like, are you going to be a great salesperson? How are you going to actively sell things to people? What product are you bringing that's going to draw people down there? How are you going to make your stall look to really, you know, get that person from that stall over there to come and look at your stall and buy something with you? So it's, you know, it's obviously you're doing an event and you're getting a platform, you're being platformed potentially, and it being put in front of hopefully lots of lovely customers. But then it comes down to you and your business and kind of the effort that you've put in there as well. So I think probably just thinking to yourself, do you have the time and energy to put that energy in? Marketing, obviously, as a market ourselves, we do a lot of marketing to get people down, but we always say to the stallholders, it's really important for them as well to engage with their audience, get their audience to come down. Those people are most likely to shop with them because they've already, you know, following them, maybe bought with them before. So I think just asking yourself, do you have the time and energy to invest in kind of bringing something to this event? Like, what are you bringing to it, and are you willing to put work in to get something really great out? That's what I would say.
And I think making sure as well that it's the right one for you. So asking the organisers what the demographic is, who the customer is, you know, and their previous successes. Because I know it takes a lot of time from the setup, the time out of the business, and you know, you want to make sure that you're making money. So it's making sure that it's the right one for you. But then, like you say, you do the work. You do the work when you show up. You show up before, show up on the day, and you show up after. You know,
100%. And also, I think just, like you've said, like actually reading the website of the event, like trying to come down ahead of the event to see who's there, what sort of products they're selling. Is it a busy event? Reading, like we always send out a pack of information to all of our stallholders, reading all of that information, making sure that you're prepared, making sure that you know everything that we've told you so that you've got all the information. Like just doing your research, exactly as you've said, like, is this event going to work for you? Is this the kind of customer that's going to work for you? Is this the kind of product type that's already selling there that you sell? Do you think the people coming to this event want to buy what you're selling? And kind of, is there a cohesion there? And, you know, I love it when people come down to the market ahead of time and then they apply and they're like, oh, I came down last weekend, you know, I loved it, saw how amazing it was. I think my product would be really great. And then I'm like, yeah, I can totally see it. Like, your product would be really great. And I think we should definitely work together. So I think you can get an instant sense if you go to an event or a market, that could be anything. You'll know straight away if it's like right for your product.
And I think as well, asking yourself if it's the right time to do that event. Like, does it make sense with what product you've currently got? Like, is your website set up properly? Because obviously taking part in a market or any event, it's a platform that's basically putting you in front of more people and giving people the opportunities to shop with you. But if your website's not updated, or you haven't got around to setting up your website yet, if you've not got all your new products there, if you've not got new products to launch, you know, a market can still be successful, but is it the exact right time to do the market? So I think it's kind of getting all your ducks in a row so that when you're then put in that platform, when you're put on that stage, when you're put in front of all those potential shoppers, you can get the absolute maximum out of it. Like, just thinking commercially, I think sometimes, you know, it's people want to, I suppose it's asking, what do you want to take part in the event for? Some people want to take part in a market because they want that connection to their customers. They want the connection to real life. They want to bring their brand into a real life space. It's for them to enjoy personally. But obviously, you know, sometimes you want it to be a commercial success, like, so you can carry on running your business and make money. So I think it's asking yourself, what are you really going into it for? And are you set up to make that thing happen? So if you just want to bring your brand into real life and meet customers, obviously, great. You can do that anytime. You know, maybe booking in longer in advance so you've got time to tell your best customers and arrange to meet them there so you can have that face to face. If you need it to be more of a commercial success in terms of your money, have you thought about what your best selling products are, the ones you make the most money on? Have you got enough of those products to bring with you that you know you can make the money out of it that you need to? Is your website set up so that you can continue to make online sales afterwards? So I think just asking yourself what you want to get out of it and then thinking, is now the right time to kind of meet that demand that you have of it?
What about making the best use of your time when you're at the market and making sure that you know, get those sales, get them attracted to your stand? What are your tips for that?
I think treat every customer as if they might be your best customer ever. I think it's really easy. Well, firstly, I think come into the day on time, prepared, so that you're ready ahead of time. I know at our market, for example, we always have people who want to come in even before we've opened the market. And oftentimes we don't have doors, so we can't stop people. So sometimes if people are there half an hour early, we get sales happening at the market half an hour before it's even begun. If you're not there, prepared, ready, if you're turning up 5 minutes before the event, you've not planned your stall, you've not got everything ready, you know, you're not going to be making sales to those first people who are through the doors. So I think maximizing your time means being there on time, being prepared, being ready, having an amazing stall display that you've thought of ahead of time. If you've got a quiet moment, making sure you're taking content. Are you putting content up on Instagram? Are you getting content up on stories? Are you taking videos to create reels with later or to get on TikTok? Are you connecting with the stall holders next to you to see, you know, we see so many collaborations and like amazing things coming from the people that meet at the market. And just really never underestimating the customer that is in front of you. Even if you've only got 10 people, say it's a quiet day, you only meet 10 people. Every single one of those 10 people could be life-changing to you in your business. And we see amazing, incredible and important people come down to the market all the time. And also, you just never know who someone is. Like, you might not know there and then that they're really important. So I think never
Everyone's
underestimating.
important, Liv.
Yeah.
Everyone's your best customer.
Everyone is, and I don't want to, you know, everyone is important, but also if you're talking to like the head buyer for Selfridges, that's like incredibly important. So everyone is super important, and you never know how they're going to change your business. So I think always making sure you're giving that great customer service, always making sure that the person in front of you, you're not thinking, oh, I haven't got 10 other people to talk to. You're talking to that person there and then and giving them amazing service and making sure you're getting that sale from that person in front of you. And then always treating the last person through the door the same as you did the first person through the door. Like, is that person, we see so many great sales coming in that last like half an hour or 10 minutes of the day, even just amongst stall holders, amongst each other. That's sometimes when the most amazing sales happen, is like that last moment of the day. So like, don't leave early, don't pack up, don't like lose your enthusiasm, you know, don't think, God, I just really want to get home now, I'm going to leave like 10 minutes early. You might miss like your best sale of the day at that very moment. We see it all the time. So I think just really trying to maximize everything you can get. We always say it's like squeezing every drop from the lemon, like getting that content, making those connections, meeting those people in the community, like thinking about how you can display your stall better, practicing your customer service, practicing your selling. There's so much to be got from a market day. So really, you don't want to sit back and just like, you know, let it all happen. You want to be in the mix and be a part of it and get everything you can from it. So that would be my advice. Everyone is important as well. That is true. Everyone is important.
I think it's also a good opportunity for you if you're testing something new to get real face-to-face feedback on it as well. You know, like you were talking, Daisy, about when you've got a product and it's one of your best sellers, but you're thinking, right, what's my next thing? That you're bringing that to the table literally on the day and asking for feedback. I think it's a really good opportunity for you to get that as well.
100%. We always say to brand owners, like, you know, some big brands spend millions of pounds doing market research to physically pay people to come into a room and to review their products live to their face. You're doing this as you're selling at an event. So don't miss that. Like we just always say, I know it sounds really obvious, but really speak to people and really listen to what they're saying. Like, your customer will tell you everything you need to know. If people are like constantly looking at one product, but you don't sell many of them, obviously that's a huge piece of knowledge for you. If you think about it, okay, why are people not converting on that product? It was my most picked up, but I didn't make that many sales on it. Like, that's so invaluable. You just can't get that online. So it's like drinking it all in. And I know it's a lot for people to do in one day. You know, you're trying to make sales, you're trying to make connections, you're trying to get content, but it's like coming in ready to just smash that day. Like, it's only one day and you're just showing up as your best self, ready to like drink all that information in and like just give your all into it, like really being invested in the day and getting the most out of it that you can. Because exactly as you've said, like that, it could be life-changing for your business if, you know, one product that's like your worst seller, one day you just finally speak to a customer that's like, oh, I really like that mug, but I don't find it comfortable to hold with the handle. And you're like, oh my God, that's why no one's buying it, because I've never thought about the fact that that's just an uncomfortable handle. That could change that product and make it your next bestseller. Like, and you're just not going to get that experience online. So having that open dialogue with customers and really hearing what they're saying to you is just amazing and so important.
For those that have a bricks and mortar store, or for small brands that want to run their own events, either in store or as an extension of their business, what should they consider?
I think firstly, like, what do you want to get out of the event? Like, are you looking to make money from it? Are you looking to do community building? Are you looking to reward your best customers? Really having a purpose for like what that event is actually for, and then making sure that you're gearing everything you're doing towards that one goal. So I think starting off with a clear goal, maybe just one clear goal, and just like making sure, so for example, if it's just that you want to reward your best customers, making sure you've got your list of your list of best customers, making sure you're sending them a beautiful invitation, making sure they're RSVPing, making sure you're thinking about, is there a gift bag? Are we doing free drinks? Like, how you want to treat those customers. If it's about making money, thinking, okay, are we charging for tickets? Like, how are we making money from this event? How are we monetizing it? Are we using a platform like Eventbrite, or are we doing some kind of ticketing system on the door? Or how are you actually monetizing that? Are you getting some sort of advertising? What are you doing to make that money? So having a clear goal. But then I think whenever, it's like anything, when you start doing something new, I think it's really, really easy to lose enthusiasm, because the first time you might do it, it might not be a humongous success. And that could be for so many different reasons. Firstly, because if you're a bricks and mortar store that's normally closed at 6 p.m. and then you do an event at 6 p.m., firstly, people just might not really know that you're doing it. You know, you might have put some time and energy into marketing, but you might not have done enough. You might not have connected with the right people. You might not be on the right platform. So I think that's where the resilience comes back in, to know when you're starting something new, for example, events, you might have to do it a few times to really connect with that right audience and work out when it is they want to do that event, what it exactly is that they're looking to get from that event, making sure you're doing all of that marketing ahead of time. Maybe you didn't quite get the messaging on that marketing right, so you didn't quite connect to that right person that's coming down. And so it's kind of like a trial and error on those things as well. But I think having a clear goal and really putting the time and energy into marketing, and then being resilient to continue trialing things if it doesn't work amazingly the first time, those are my kind of 3 pieces of advice, I think.
And on average, when you're marketing your events, how far in advance do you start sowing the seeds and marketing it?
So on our website, we tend to list markets sometimes even a few months in advance, but really the game-changing time is 2 weeks before the event. Obviously, we're now 5 years into running events, so we have quite a large volume of traffic of people coming to our website to constantly check what the next thing is we're doing anyway. So when we started out the business, we used to give each event like a solid 4 or 5 weeks of marketing, just because we were starting out. We didn't have as much of a big audience, and we really wanted to make sure that we were ensuring we were doing every single thing possible to make sure every event was as well attended as possible. I think now that we're a few years in, we really see that 2 weeks before is like the key time. Now that most of our kind of big moments happen on, so our Instagram audience has grown hugely, and that's where we like really foster the community. They're, you know, people who have been around since we started. TikTok's more for those like short, sharp moments, and we honestly see even the day before the event that is like the prime time for marketing to pop off on TikTok. People are literally searching on there for something to do tomorrow or this Saturday. So the Thursday and Friday before a market that weekend is like the prime time that I'll be trying to put content up on TikTok particularly. But I think the 2 week span is nice. I like to give people that. I personally organise things further in advance. I'm 33. Maybe it's just I don't know, my age, an older person thing, but obviously a lot of our customers are a lot younger. Maybe they don't have as many plans and stuff, or, you know, they're a bit more flexible with their time.
Responsibilities. Yeah,
they're a bit more flexible with their time frame. So I think, we do kind of different marketing at different stages. So the website will be the first thing. That's like a couple of months in advance. Then we'll put it out onto Instagram. That's normally a month in advance. And then we'll do quite a few short, sharp messages like 2 or 3 days before the event on TikTok. So it's kind of staggered across the platforms.
You have been going for 5 years now. What do you feel have been your milestone moments?
I think we've been so lucky. I think we've had so many milestone moments. I think for me, the biggest one that stands out the most is literally the day after Daisy quit her job to become full-time in the business with me. We got the message from Selfridges as we were just coming out of lockdown to say that they wanted to work with us. And then our first event out of lockdown, out of doing all the online markets, our first back real life event was in Selfridges. And so that was like absolutely incredible. And I think that moment for us was like, that was the moment, like the sort of marker in the sand that we were like, it makes me feel a bit emotional thinking about it, because it brings back all the like memories of that time. But I feel like in that moment we were both like, we're so on the right path, like we're doing everything that we should be doing, and it's like, and people are seeing it outside of our immediate community. I feel like that's the first time that we really saw that we were recognized by like a really big, something that's such a huge deal. Like, you know, Selfridges is so globally renowned. It's like such a huge prestigious shopping destination. I think that was like, just that feeling will stay with me forever, of how like, it honestly makes me fit. It makes me.
I think what was so amazing though then was we hadn't done proper branding, so it was all the branding I was just literally making up on Photoshop. That is not my job at all. Like, it was, I look back now and I'm haunted by the things that we were putting out.
It wasn't that bad. It was, you know,
bad. We were just making it up as we went along. We'd never run events before. We'd not spent a single pound on marketing or branding. We were literally just two girls making it up and trying to make the best of it. And so you know, I don't think we were at our best then. And so to even be recognised by Selfridges at that time, like, it just seemed it felt so incredible to be recognised when I didn't even think what we were doing was the best of our ability. Like, it just felt absolutely amazing that they'd recognised the strength of like the community of what we had built, because we didn't look the best. You know, we had a weird name, like we used to operate under a different name. Like, do you know what I mean? It all wasn't the best of the best, but I think it was just that they saw that spark of like the community, and that we'd been able to tap into something that really meant something to people. And so for me, that meant the most, because it was seeing the heart of the operation, not just like the pretty facade, but they were really getting to the heart and soul of what we were doing. And yeah, I obviously, the day that I handed in my notice at my job, I worked at ASOS. It was like my dream job, being an editor there. And even though it wasn't, because I didn't really love it in the end, but I was like, what the hell have I done? Like, I've handed in my notice to this job. Like, you know, for the first time in my life, I had a good salary. I had like dental insurance. I had a pension. Like, and I was like, I've just handed in my notice to this job. And, you know, have I done the right thing? And then to wake up the next day and see that DM was just, you know, it really was like the biggest sign from the universe that we'd made the right decision. So it was kind of easy to carry on after that, because we just knew we'd made the right decision.
Yeah, there's a saying, I think I can't remember where, it's like, you burn the ships, it's almost like you have no going back, and that's when, or you make space and you get rid of other things so that new things can come forward and
100%.
be in the business.
We always say for success, you need to have either inspiration or desperation. And I think we both, when we started the business, I'd just been fired from my job. So, and then Daisy like left her job. And like you said, we'd like burnt those ships, like there was no going back. So we, as much as we were inspired, but we also had the desperation that we like literally didn't have a plan B. So we had to move forward with it. So yeah, I think you're right. 100%.
I think in terms of other milestones, like that was a really big one. But then really, so when we hosted our first event, we didn't even have a proper Instagram account for it. We used to operate under another Instagram account, which was more about our home interiors, and that the market was kind of born out of that account that we were running at the time. So like soon after, in the beginning of 2020, we set up the Instagram account, and within like 4 or 5 months, we had 10,000 followers, which was just, the growth level was just absolutely insane. And honestly, we were on a bit of an emotional roller coaster for like that year. And I look back now and think, well, no wonder, because going from 0 to 10,000 people watching what you're doing, and it was like lockdown, so everything was much more heightened. It was just like the craziest time. So that was a huge moment for us when we reached 10,000. We got like balloons and we like took pictures, and it just, the 10,000 people, like the number, just, it was absolutely insane to think, you know, 6 months before no one had cared. What we were doing didn't even exist. And then all of a sudden, like 10,000 people were watching what we were doing. So I think that was a big milestone for us.
Yeah, and I think that's a real testament to you both. And when people look at it now, the branding now is lovely. It's on point. You know, you've changed and
we've invested. We've invested some money into it. It's not me doing it anymore, thank God.
And where can people find you both, and how can they apply to Salad Days?
So all our applications are done via our website. So our website is saladdaysmarket.co.uk, and we have a page there that shows all of our upcoming events, and then we have a page for applications. We're currently closed for applications, but I don't know if when you release this we might be open. So check on our website. We'll tell you if we're open or closed for applications. If we are closed, please do sign up to our email newsletter, because that's the only place that we announce that we're opening for applications. And on our Instagram, you can find all of our upcoming events as well, although we don't take any applications via there, but you can always find out that information on our Instagram as well. And our Instagram is Salad Days Market London. So yeah, those are the 2 main places. But if you want to apply, definitely check out our website, please. That would be great.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, ladies. It's been a joy, and hopefully I will make it very soon to one of the markets.
We'd love to see you.
That. Make sure you come and find us and say hello. We'll have a drink. We can have a little cheers.
And I'll be back again next week with another great guest.